What up, guys? It's your boy SonTJ. I saw that you guys wanted to talk more about Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4 or maybe Dragon Ball Super Budokai Tenkaichi, and I brought up my boy Dr. Love here since he's been doing some videos talking about Tenkaichi. I don't have the footage or like the skill to do Tenkaichi 3 mods and have all that cool stuff, so I'm gonna have like something in the background to like I guess for y'all's enjoyment. But we saw something on Twitter that there needs to be CACs in Tenkaichi 4. And me and Dr. Love here do not agree. And I want to hear more of your take on why you disagree that Tenkaichi 4 shouldn't have, I guess, CACs.
Yeah, no, for sure. Tenkaichi 4, bro, like, listen. The only games that I think even warranted having CACs in the first place from, like, for the past, like, I'd say 10 years worth of anime games were Ultimate Tenkaichi, because that was, like, the first one. Xenoverse, the series, and then Shinobi Striker. But all the other ones, they just didn't need it. Like, they just seemed like they were only putting them in the game just because they worked for Xenoverse. But they worked for Xenoverse because that was like the main thing that, you know, like that was the main selling point for the game. Like people for Jump Force, for example, right? Because I think that was the worst one. The One Punch Man game had it in there, but it was just like, I don't even know what the main direction for that game was to begin with. But then with Jump Force, it's like we know it's a, you know, Shonen Jump anniversary game. So it's like, okay, we're going to have characters like Goku, Naruto, Luffy, all that type of stuff in there, right? Like it's going to be like J-Stars. But then they just go, bam, created characters. And it's like, okay, why though? Like, I'm not playing this game to play as myself. I'm playing this to play as Naruto and fight against Luffy and Goku while Frieza and like Madara on my team and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with like Tenkaichi 4, where Budokai Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3, none of those had created characters and they were just fine. Raging Blast 1 and 2 didn't have created characters and they were just fine. I think people just want to play as the main cast in the game and not as the created characters. Because I don't know about you, but I think that the whole created character shtick has just kind of like overstayed its welcome with these anime games. Like the only one I want to see it in now is Shinobi Striker in Xenoverse. I don't want to see it in nothing else. I don't care what franchise it is. I don't care what, like nothing. I'm done. I'm done. They take away from the main cast and it's just too many resources go into the created characters that could just go into making everything else in the game better. So that's just the overall reason as to why I'm just like nah, don't even think about putting it in that game.
Feel like it's a conflict of interest because Tenkaichi fans, the guys who only play Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi 3 and act like there's no Dragon Ball Z games that's ever been good since. Because I've actually seen them. I've seen the plus like 25 and up people who just think all Dragon Ball games are ass ever since Tenkaichi 3. They're like, yeah, man, I used to play everyone, and all they did was really play Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and like any of the top tiers, right?
Yeah.
These guys have been crapping on Fighters, Xenoverse 2, Kakarot, any game that don't have freaking 300 plus characters, but then they want a CAC. Like after a point, yo, you're asking for too much stuff because like, what's the point of having all these cool animations and everything like that? Because I saw Ultimate Tenkaichi. We all know Ultimate Tenkaichi is a flawed game. I think the best part of that game is like you get your CAC and it has really cool cutscenes and the boss battles are fun. But like after that point, like what is the point of having all these very in detail characters and stuff for your created character just to kind of clone it, and then it just takes away from the main cast? Because like we just talked about in Xenoverse 2 or Strikers and stuff, like what's the point of having all these characters, all these moves, and you never want to play the regular cast and you just playing your character kind of like, you know, with the new coat? Like I feel like the only successful game with created characters is Xenoverse 2, and like I said before, like it makes you not want to really play the other characters. You only want to play the other characters where you're just so tired of playing with your CAC. Like that's the only time, and I don't think it just works like that, man. I feel like what kept Raging Blast, kept Tenkaichi, kept all those games afloat was just seeing all those cool stuff. And like, and half of the time with CSCs, they don't do a good enough job to make it feel as cool as the original moves. Like, for example, with Ultimate Tenkaichi, like you have all these cool moves with Gogeta and it has great facial animations, great the voice actor doing his work. No offense to the people who's doing the voice work for these CACs, but they don't be hitting the same. Seeing my character on Xenoverse 2, say Kaioken, doesn't hit the same as Sean Schimmel or anyone else like that. Like there's just certain nuances you're missing out on. And quite frankly, I don't need another story where they put like a CSC as the main guy, the golden character, and we don't really have a full-on story reenacting Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball GT or something like that. Like I like a little bit more of the old school stuff, and I feel like if they start putting more resources to just like making some weird story where we're the main character, it just takes away from that.
No, I 100% agree. Like it's just same thing as what I said earlier too. I just think that having created characters in the game just takes away from other resources. Like making the story about your created character, after having so many games where they've done that, like I've already seen it, like, you know, because before when Xenoverse 1 was coming out, the only one that we really had with that was Ultimate Tenkaichi, and it was kind of hit or miss depending who you're talking to. So it was like another shot at it versus like, you know, plus they knew, well, based off what they were saying, you know, we know not to do this from Battle of Z and Ultimate Tenkaichi, so it's gonna be more like this. So we're like, okay, cool. And then people had their opinions on it, and then it was like, okay, now Shinobi Striker has it, now Jump Force has it, now One Punch Man has it, and it's like, okay, now it's kind of overstayed its welcome. Like we get it, you know, the whole created character shtick, the story mode, all that stuff. Like that's cool, but let me just get another Dragon Ball game where they put a lot of resources into just the story and flesh out the characters. Because there's another thing that people don't even think about too. When you look at the games that do have custom characters, the gameplay suffers to some degree, right? Because I know that a lot of this is like subjective versus like, you know, what personal preferences and whatnot, but like Ultimate Tenkaichi, I don't think that the gameplay was set up the way it was because of created characters, but you know how it was like the rock paper scissors.
Well, half of the boss battles
was
like made for the created character. Like I was mad that we didn't get like a Super Saiyan 4 Goku versus Super Saiyan 4 Goku versus Godu-Zaru. For some reason, they only made that for our CAC, or the whole Red Shenron fight, the Ultimate Shenron fight. Like, I just hate that we're not getting real characters have those real fights because they want to put our characters in there. Like, it kind of brings me back all the way back to the day of Mortal Kombat Armageddon. It's like, yeah, they had some cool references to anime characters and stuff like that, but the gameplay really suffered because almost everyone played the same. I feel like that's already a criticism towards Tenkaichi 3 as a nutshell. It's like a lot of characters play the same and everything like that. And also a lot of people don't want to admit it, but it's a balancing issue. Like when you have a created character where you can pick all the best moves, or like in Ultimate Tenkaichi, you can just pick Gogeta's moveset or Vegeto's moveset. Hell, even Xenoverse 2 is like, you can make your character pretty much broken as hell. Like, again, I know a lot of people say like, make it broken, do whatever you want to do, but like, no one's here to like, for example, it's like when a new DLC character drops in Xenoverse 2. Everyone's trying to play like Kefla or UI Goku, but then you get that one person who just picks their CAC all the time. Hell, I was that person. Go like, I want to play my CAC today, but it's like, everyone wants to like just try out the new characters and have fun, while you're gonna have people who just pick a CAC, get the most broken new move out there, and then, you know, then it's gonna add into the DLC issue because people swear that they need to give free DLC. We need all the characters in one pack, but then like if you introduce CACs, what are you gonna think they're gonna do with CACs? That's gonna just automatically bring up DLC, automatic.
Yeah. No, like honestly, like that's another thing too, is that there's like, it's all these different layers to it. Like having created characters affects the roster, it affects the combo system, because then they have to also cater to the created characters and figure out how to make those customizable. So then that kind of takes away from just making a fleshed out character. And it's like, oh, well, if we want their move to be equipable on a created character, we have to make it more like this. We have to make the combo system this way, or we have to make that. And then it's like what you were saying with the type of items you can equip on your created characters, on top of the busted moves, on top of making your stats super busted. It's like it makes some things just not really fun. And I didn't play much of Jump Force, but I heard it was like the same issue in that game online, where it's like, if you're fighting someone versus a created character, most of the time they were pretty busted. You know, Shinobi Striker, you're not gonna want to play as anyone on the cast because you're playing as your created character. I don't know much about the One Punch Man game, but it just, all these different aspects that like, I'm not sitting here saying that like custom characters are, you know, by default like a negative thing or anything like that, but it's just that some games it's a pro and in other games it's a con, and I think that for Tenkaichi it would be a con. And also for the people, listen, you can't want created characters and a large roster for Tenkaichi 4. You're gonna get one of the other. Like, I'm telling you,
it's a conflict of interest. Like, also, if you're still watching the video, I gotta do what all the other big users do. I gotta like cut in between the middle, hit that like button, it's free. Hit the like button if you're still watching. But nah, shout outs to those guys. But like, it goes against business. Let's think about it. Like, we got 3 main video, or actually like 4 now, because we're bringing back Tenkaichi. Like, we got the Kakarot series, which is kind of like the new modern day legacy of Goku. We got Xenoverse 2, which is like the RPG fighting game with created character. You got Fighters, where it's a pure fighting game. Yeah, people can argue the balancing and stuff, but every fighting game has top tiers. Then you got Tenkaichi, where it's going to be what it should be, the pure power fantasy. Like, the only game that comes close to Fighters is like Budokai, where it has a little bit of power fantasy, but it's still a fighting game. But like, if you have Tenkaichi try to do the whole created character, then what are we left with Xenoverse? Like, they're pretty much saying that they're going to keep supporting Xenoverse because you niggas keep buying it. So like, why would they devalue their cash cow by creating, like, just pretty much killing that entire series by just saying, you know what, Because let's be real, if they actually did create a character right, they actually had like a really fascinating story. I'm sorry, but Xenoverse 2, with its gameplay and style, or it keeps to that same formula, it's not going to be able to compete because people for the longest time wanted a created character in the Raging Blast 2 / Tenkaichi format where you had these epic cutscenes. Like, we all remember a Meteor combination where Goku's doing the kicks, how he bit Kid Buu and all that stuff. Or not Kid Buu, Piccolo Jr., all those things. Like, we wanted those crazy cutscenes that we got in Ultimate Tenkaichi. If they did all of that with CACs, then Xenoverse 2 is like pretty much, or Xenoverse 3 is just pretty much dead because that's what people wanted all the time. So as like a business move, granted, Toei, Shueisha, all these people have done really dumb stuff. Let's not even talking about Bandai. But I just think if they want to be smart, they're going to make Xenoverse be the RPG created character, Kakarot be like the true storytelling RPG, Fighters the true fighting game, and Tenkaichi somewhere in between. But I don't think CACs is good for business anyway.
No, I definitely agree. I just don't think it is. Like, and listen, guys, both of us like the concept of created characters as a general thing, not for this game in particular, but like, you know, obviously that was at least something that at one point, not really now for me, but at one point did draw me more towards, you know, Xenoverse, Ultimate Tenkaichi, you know, and Shinobi Striker, not really the other games. But for this particular game, like, if you're asking for created characters, just really think about it and ask yourself, why? Like, what is the main actual reason you want it in the game? Like,
go play Xenoverse 2!
That's what I was gonna say. Like, just because for me personally, I'm just letting you know, whether this game has created characters or not, I'm probably not touching Xenoverse afterwards anyway. And I can promise you, if this game did have created characters, I'm definitely never touching Xenoverse again. Tenkaichi gameplay and some created characters, I don't want that personally, but if that was the reality, there'd be like nothing left for me to go back to Xenoverse 4. And looking in Bandai Namco's position, it's like, okay, we want them to have to go back to all these games anyway. Yeah. Especially Xenoverse, since they've been milking it like crazy. They can't just offer the #1 seller for that game and then just put it in something else. Like they just wouldn't do that. You gotta be a little realistic.
It's literally killing another cash cow, and you're already, because Dragon Ball's like the #1 selling anime franchise of all time. Like, it's even beating One Piece. It's like, no matter what people say, it's a bigger platform. That's why people are mad like CC2 like half-assing Kakarot, because like Kakarot is Dragon Ball's a way bigger franchise than One Piece. It just, not One Piece, Naruto. Like, it sells a lot more. So like the fact they keep going to the Naruto well, like, yo, like Dragon Ball's a way bigger IP than Naruto at this point. It sells a lot more money. And when you got this powerful IP and it's got 4 streamlined like series like now, it's just not a smart move. And like you said with the gameplay style, like we all know Tenkaichi 1's gameplay, not Tenkaichi 1, Xenoverse 1. Both Tenkaichi 1 was really bad, but Xenoverse 1's gameplay was a little bit rough, but Xenoverse 2's gameplay was getting closer to what we really wanted. Granted, because like again, like we all know, like Xenoverse 2 has problems. Like, you can't land Spirit Bomb because there's no cutscenes. They don't want to do cutscene super moves. Like, why Tenkaichi was such a love game, because you can pretty much do any move and it'll work because there's cutscenes for moves in these cutscenes. If for beam supers, like, they'll just beam and you'll be close up. Like, a lot of moves work in Tenkaichi games because of cutscenes, or you could just combo and stuff. Xenoverse 2 has always had that problem where like certain moves only work online, certain moves only work offline. Tenkaichi doesn't have that problem, so like it'll just completely destroy that. Granted, maybe Xenoverse 3 they actually fix those problems, but at that point they're already going to have a hard time selling Xenoverse 3 because this game that people wanted, granted, it's weird to me that people don't count Raging Blast or Ultimate Tenkaichi. They're going to try to get rid of it now, but those games do count. They are Tenkaichi games. They're literally running off the same engine and all that stuff. But yeah, I definitely think they should definitely just consider not to do it because it's just going to be killing off Xenoverse. I think Xenoverse is the main line where you need to focus on that instead of trying to put Towa and Mira in every freaking game. Please.
Yeah, there's just, listen, man, there's just a lot of reasons as to why you could actually vote for not having custom characters in this game. Like, we're not just trying to like hate and be like, you know, oh, we don't want them in the game because we just don't want them. Like, there's actually a lot of valid reasons as to why they shouldn't be in the game, in my opinion, versus should. Like, the only reason I can think of as to why I would want them in the game is to be like, you know, oh, so I can play as myself. But it's like, but besides that though, like, if I know, like, knowing that the gameplay, roster, customization, all that type of stuff is going to be affected for the main cast just to support the created character, I'd just rather them not do it. That's just me overall. Like, there's way too many cons to it.
Like, for final thoughts, it's just like when I play fighting games or I play something like that, I just remember back in the day when I was playing Tenkaichi 3, I wanted to go against my friend and play Super Saiyan 4 Goku against Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. And like, in like fighters right now, I'd rather play UI Goku against Vegeta. In Xenoverse, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had fun doing the whole CAC stuff, but after a point, we're like, okay, let's switch it up and pick the main cast because they actually have more stuff in their combos. And like what Tenkaichi is really known for is that if you're Goku, you have your own base Goku moveset. Then when you go Super Saiyan, you have a base Super Saiyan Goku moveset. With CACs, we all know if they give us Ultra Instinct or whatever, our moveset's not going to change, or they're going to do like Ultra Tenkaichi that every time you transform, you get a different moveset. It just lacks creativity, and we just know they're not going to add that much. And for the people who's asking for Saiyan only, like why would you want to have CAC when you only got one race anyway? So, I just think save the CACs and put more detail in that for Xenoverse 3. That's all I got to say to that.
Exactly. Then that way everybody wins. You get your game with the huge roster. You get your game with the that's just like an actual fighting game. You get your your RPG in Kakarot, and then you get your mix of all question mark that also has created characters. Everybody wins that way. You don't need all of them. You don't need everything to be in one game. It's okay for them to be in separate games, guys. It's okay. Fighters didn't need custom characters. Kakarot didn't need it, and neither does Tenkaichi 4. It is fine.
I'm talking to y'all who are 30 plus who know that y'all only play the top tiers. Y'all don't need the Frieza Soldier number 6. Y'all don't need all that. So don't be one of those people. The number's not the same. Like, come on, man. Come on. All right, man. Thank you, Dr. Love, for being on the channel, man. Very appreciated. Hope you guys actually support this because I get tired of y'all asking for videos. Y'all don't watch them. Y'all be mad at me when I don't make them no more. So if y'all want more Budokai Tenkaichi 4, I guess like I don't know, theories, and especially when the game comes out, if y'all want to play through, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share. Thank you very much. SonTJ out. Peace. Love you all.